Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Mr. Anderson podcast, or at least that's what I'm going to call it until I can come up with a better name. Because, you know, you gotta have a name for these things. I don't know if this is going to be a regular thing. We already did a podcast with Kirsty Ellison where I discussed my thoughts and feelings on Bloodborne, as did she, so I recommend you go check it out if you missed it. And yes, it was just our thoughts and feelings and not supposed to be actually us specifically explaining lore, because for the most part we don't know. I don't think some people understood that. Anyway, so today I want to discuss E3. You need to bear in mind I didn't watch all of E3, but I did see a large chunk of it. I watched most of the things that interested me, put it that way. And I may also discuss games I've been playing recently, and if nothing else, I'm probably also going to cover some changes that you probably have noticed on the channel recently. But we'll leave all that shit to the end. For now, I want to start with E3. Speaking of starting with E3, let's just get this out of the way for the people that only really care about Souls. Many of you will be aware by now. If you're not, they announced Dark Souls 3. We know it was coming anyway, and the important note here is that apparently, not only is Miyazaki the head of the project, I guess, if you want to call it that, which he wasn't for Dark Souls 2, as I'm sure everyone that cares about Dark Souls is well aware. Apparently they're saying this is going to be the last Souls game, or at least the last Dark Souls game. Maybe they'll start making Demon Souls again after this. Maybe Beast Souls, or Dragon Souls, or something else entirely. Maybe they'll work on Bloodborne more, maybe they'll work on something else entirely. I don't know. So the point is, they released a trailer for it. As far as I know, they didn't release any information besides what I just mentioned, so it was just this sort of 2-minute trailer. I'm not going to be putting any footage in the background because a long time ago, some of you may be aware, I uploaded the trailer for Dark Souls 2. Got a straight up copyright strike. Not a copyright match, no, I got a copyright strike from Bandai Namco. So, fuck them basically. I'm not dicking around with footage in the background because it will probably get me copyright strikes. And I ain't gonna risk that shit. So yes, this trailer basically showed us, I think there was some words at the beginning, it said something like, only embers remain. I think those were the only words. So I take from that it means maybe the cycle is done now, maybe the rekindling of the first flame is done, so there's only embers left. This is the true age of dark, perhaps? I don't know. What we also saw was some woman sort of on her knees, reminding me kind of, what's her name? Vicar Amelia from Bloodborne. Remind me a little bit of her, maybe also a little bit of the woman kneeling down in the opening of Dark Souls 1 as well, so it kind of paralleled that. And I think it was her that reached for a crown that looked exactly, and I do mean exactly, like the crown of the Ivory King. So, yeah, there's that. What does that really mean? I have no bloody idea. And we also saw what I'm pretty damn sure was the Giant Lord. It was a big-ass giant with a hollow face, big sword, wearing, like, the same robes and everything, and he had a crown on. He got up, because he was lying down, looked pissed off, roared, and then glowed. And that was the end of the trailer. So, yeah. Also, apparently it's coming early 2016, and it's also going to be on PC. But we kind of knew that anyway. What do I think of that? I'll be honest with you, my reaction immediately was like, oh god, you're going the Dark Souls 2 route? Don't get me wrong, again, I like Dark Souls 2, but I want them to continue the story of Dark Souls 1. Not dick around with these hollow-faced giants and the Ivory Crown. I want more Dark Souls 1. I want to know about freaking what happened there exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it will be good because Miyazaki's in charge. If nothing else, it will be decent, even if it's not as good as Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, etc. As long as it's no worse than Dark Souls 2, I'll at least enjoy it, you know, but oh man, I was hoping they were going to be done with Dark Souls 2 and move on to either the third stage, like a long time after, or kind of go back in time and, you know, expand upon Dark Souls 1. So, who really knows what to think from that? Anyway, so that's me covering Dark Souls. So if you only care about Dark Souls, you can piss off, but thanks for coming. Okay, so now that we got Dark Souls out of the way, let's start from the very beginning of E3, the Bethesda presentation. Holy shit, Fallout 4 looks amazing. And yes, I will almost certainly be doing it on the channel unless, like, I'm dead or something, like, or I'm physically unable to speak. If I can speak and I'm living, yes, I will most likely be doing Fallout 4 on the channel when it comes out, along with everyone else on YouTube, but fuck it, I don't do things because they're being underdone. I do whatever the hell I want, even if it's oversaturated as shit. And yes, I know that sounds kind of, not ironic, what's the word? Hypocritical, because I've always mentioned I don't want to do the Skyrim storyline or Minecraft because they've been overdone. That's true, but also I just don't want to do them in general. If I wanted to do them and they were overdone, I'd do them anyway. Anyhow, so Fallout 4 looks amazing. The graphics, I really like them. Now, yeah, okay, I get that there are some people being like, oh, it doesn't look hyper-realistic at all. Because it don't look hyper-realistic, man. The only games that look hyper-realistic these days are things like the Order 1886. And there's basically no gameplay in that. The reason that game looks so good is because most of it is fucking CGI that you aren't really controlling. Oh, but you can fight werewolves with, QuickTime events. A QuickTime event is not you controlling a character. It is you pressing a button to continue a CGI cutscene. That's all it is. Actual gameplay where you have free control over your character is entirely different. So yes, games that have a lot to them tend to look worse. Dragon Age 1, when it came out, looked like arse. Still looks like arse today, but even more so. But Dragon Age 1 looked like arse when it came out, but Dragon Age 1 had a lot of depth to it. There are very few games that have a lot of depth that also look nice. Yes, there is The Witcher 3, has lots of depth, looks nice, but it's few and far between that ever happens. I think the graphics are very nice, I like the art design of Fallout 4. Yeah, the character models could use some work, but it's really not the end of the world, you know? You don't play Fallout for the graphics. If you did, you wouldn't play Fallout 3, because Fallout 3 also looks like arse. Good God. I mean, the characters in Fallout 3 at least look better than Oblivion's potato faces, but besides that, very ugly game. But it doesn't matter, because it was so damn good. So yeah, they showed off base building, which was very cool. As far as I understand it, there's going to be specific plots of land in Fallout 4. You can't just build anywhere. But upon these plots of land, kind of like the way Half-Fire works, I think, though I've never actually played with Half-Fire, which is a Skyrim DLC, for those of you unaware of what I'm talking about, that allows you to, like, build a home and raise a family. I never played with that, even though I bought the DLC. I only bought it in case modders needed it for assets. So, yeah, the whole base building thing looks very cool, and also apparently it's going to get attacked by raiders, and they showed off like flamethrowers and turrets and mines and shits you can set up. Looked kind of awesome, it really did. And they also showed off the whole weapon modification thing. It was kind of confusing because they showed it mostly at like 4 times speed or maybe even more than that, like it was going real quick. But it seemed to me like you could take a laser pistol and add like a stock... I know nothing about guns. The handle bits. You can add like a handle bit to extend it and, you know, a longer muzzle. I hope these are the right words. I don't know about guns. You can make the nose longer and the handle longer and it becomes a laser rifle instead of a laser pistol, I think. Though I don't know because it was going so quick they may have just changed to a laser rifle that they were modding. I don't know, but they mentioned something like 55 different guns, I think. I may be getting these numbers wrong, but it was around about this. And 700 plus modifications? Looked kind of crazy. Looks like a lot of fun. I've always loved messing around with that shit in Fallout. And they also, one other thing I really like, they mentioned that all of the random crap you can pick up, like, you know, gnomes and clocks and egg timers and spoons and all that shit, every single thing can be used to make stuff. Every single thing has a use. Whereas, if you've played Fallout 3 and Oblivion, etc., you'll know there's a lot of shit you can pick up. But a lot of it is complete crap that you don't want to pick up. It's not worth anything, and you can't use it to make shits. I mean, there was still a lot of shit that you could use, like duct tape and super glue and whatnots. But yeah, there was also a lot of shit that just had no use. So everything is going to have a use now. That also sounds extremely awesome. And yeah, they showed you're going to have a dog companion. It's called Dogmeat, apparently, which was the name of the dog in Fallout 3? Or was it in New Vegas? I think it was in 3. It would make sense. But yeah, Dogmeat could die in Fallout 3. But when he died, you could pick up the meat from his corpse, which was, of course, called dog meats, and then I think if you just held it or something like that, he would, like, respawn in a few days, so it was like a baby dog meat or something. I don't know, it was really weird. But yeah, this one I'm assuming can't die, probably like in New Vegas, probably just gets knocked unconscious, or maybe people don't attack it entirely. I don't know, but we saw the dog mauling someone, so I would imagine it can be attacked. Otherwise, kind of OP, and you can give it commands to go pick up things and go over there, which you've been able to do in... You could at least do it in Skyrim, I remember that. You could be like, Jazago, go pick that lock for me, and he'd be like, what? I don't understand, because I'm Jazago, I'm useless. There's a very offensive accent there, but that's kind of what Jazago looks like. By the way, I apologize if I sound nasally as shit today. I've woken up fairly recently, and apparently still haven't quite got my voice yet, but I want to get this recorded. So yes, they showed off the whole dog thing, and one other important thing, Apparently, the character, male and female, she can be a female as well, voice acted entirely. They said something like 13,000 plus lines of dialogue each, but it's going to be more by the time they're finished, because I imagine they're still recording lines. So yeah, some people are going to be kind of pissed off about that, because they want their character to be a blank slate that is them. I entirely understand that. Personally, I've never really cared too much. I am perfectly happy to have my character voice acted, as long as it is good voice acting. Otherwise, I'll do it myself, you know? But it sounded fine. I really don't have a problem with it, but yes, I know some people will. Yeah, so I think that just about covers it for Fallout 4. They also showed Fallout Shelter, which is available now on iOS. Yes, I have downloaded it. I played it for like 5 minutes, and I was like, you know what, this is far too much work. I ain't doing this. But yeah, it looks very cool. So it's, I don't really know how to describe it. It's like a management sim, basically. Like, you are the Vault Overseer, and I'm talking about specifically the mobile game right now, just so everyone knows I'm done talking about Fallout 4. You are like the Overseer, you can control the Vault, you can decide who goes in, who goes out, where they work, you can build rooms and manage everything, you can rename everyone, you can make people have babies, you can name the baby, send people out into the wasteland to get your shits. Looks very cool, don't really have any complaints about it, but like I say, didn't play it very much, and I probably won't. Okay, so that's Fallout 4 covered, and let me very quickly just cover Dishonored 2 and Doom. Doom, put it this way, I know for a damn fact I played Doom. Probably Doom 1, I don't remember specifically which one, and I think I liked it. I probably did. I think it was pretty damn similar to Wolfenstein 3D if I remember correctly. But I don't remember jack shit about it. I just remember that I think I liked it. That's all I really remember, but yeah. So, obviously I'm not a huge fan of Doom. That doesn't mean I don't like it, I've never really been into the series. So, as someone who was coming at this fairly new to the Doom series, fairly new, I thought it looked pretty damn cool. Wasn't a huge fan of the color palettes, like it, I think it was Jim Sterling said it looks like someone pissed all over it. It's pretty accurate. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll change up the colors, but if Bethesda are good at one thing, it's taking feedback. They really are. And yes, Bethesda are not developing it. Bethesda are only making Fallout 4. They made Fallout 4, they made Skyrim, they made Fallout 3, they made Oblivion. Besides that, they haven't done shit recently. The rest of the time, they just oversee the projects because, of course, they're the ones funding it for the most part. So, yeah, they're not developing Doom, but they'll have some creative control, I'm sure. So, hopefully, the color palette will be mixed up. Even if it's not, it still looks like a very fun shooter. Don't really have much else to say. The whole chainsawing people and ripping off their limbs looks kind of cool as hell. Will I play it? Probably. Dishonored 2. Now, I have someone who has not played Dishonored 1. I have not even really seen very much gameplay. Looks good, and I hear good things. But when Dishonored came out, it was oversaturated to shit. This was back before I did YouTube, I think? Or when I'd only just started, something like that. Every motherfucker, and I do mean every motherfucker on YouTube who I followed, and I followed a lot of people at the time because, of course, I had a lot more free time because I wasn't making YouTube videos. So everyone was doing Dishonored, so I got sick of it quickly, and I was like, well, I don't want to play it. Simple as that. So, yeah, the oversaturation made me not want to play it, but I'm sure I'll get around to it at some point. The little bit we saw of Dishonored 2 looks incredibly cool. I like the whole steampunk, futuristic, but set in the past kind of thing they've got going on, kind of like Fallout 4. Well, Fallout in general, I guess. Like, it's in the future, but there's also, like, very old-fashioned sort of 50s vibe to it. It's not really a 50s vibe in Dishonored, but you get my point. Like, it's an old style, like Victorian London-esque, but also cyberpunk. I kind of dig that. A little bit like Bloodborne, basically. Okay, so, yeah, that covers Doom and Dishonored 2. Don't really have too much to say about them, as you can tell. And let's get to the Sony Conference. Don't really have anything to say about the Microsoft Conference. I don't own an Xbox. I never have. I don't hate Xbox, I don't hate Microsoft. I hate games for Windows Live, though, so I at least dislike them a little bit because of that. But, yeah, I mean, I saw the Microsoft Conference, it looked pretty good, but for the most part it was shooters and indie games that even if I had the console, probably won't play. So, you know, there's that. But yes, let's get to the Sony Conference. So, Sony opened up with The Last Guardian, and holy shit, mind blown. For those of you that don't know what the hell The Last Guardian is or why it's important, it is the sequel, kind of, to Shadow of the Colossus. It's a spiritual successor. It's basically the Dark Souls to Demon Souls. It ain't the sequel exactly, but it's a very similar game made by the same people. They're also the people that made Ico, or Eco, I think people pronounce it Eco. So, yeah, there was Eco, then there was Shadow of the Colossus, which actually turned out to be a prequel to Eco, so I'm assuming The Last Guardian's going to have some relation to those two. I would be very surprised if it doesn't. And yeah, The Last Guardian, which we've been waiting for about 7 years, I think? Something like that. Which apparently is coming out, I think they just said 2016. I don't think they gave like a quarter date or whatever. But yes, next year. Holy shit. But yeah, we've been waiting for this for like 7 years or something, and as a huge fan of Shadow of the Colossus, even though I think it had problems, I am very excited for this. So it seems like you play as a little tiny boy, kind of like in Eco again. And I guess Wonder was, you know, a man, but still fairly small. Seems to be a running theme. But it's a little tiny boy, and you have this weird sort of, it looks kind of like a hyena crossed with a chicken with horns, like little stubby horns. Like Bambi, when, you know, before he grew his horns properly, it's got like Bambi's bumps on its head, and it's like a hyena chicken. So it looks like the gameplay revolves around you escorting the hyena chicken, or the hyena chicken escorting you, like you help each other get through. Puzzles. Basically, it's a puzzle platformer. Here's the thing now. As cool as it looked, and by the way, the hyena chicken thing looked amazing, like visually, it looks good if you're into puzzle platformers, and I kind of am, but at the same time, I played Shadow of the Colossus first, and I went back to Ico, whatever it's called, don't care, gonna call it Ico, whatever. But yeah, I went back to that, really didn't dig it too much. It was basically a giant escort mission where you're dragging this girl around by the hand, and she gets kidnapped all the time. If she gets kidnapped, it's game over, so you gotta go save her, and the combat was shit, like really bad, like you just had the stick and you just wave it from side to side, and it was very slow paced. There was a lot of just running around, no monsters, no puzzles, just you running from A to B, to C to D, etc., dragging this bitch, because she's too incompetent to move on her own. And yeah, I understand what they were going for with that, and I'm sure it worked for a lot of people. You're supposed to immerse yourself in the world and, you know, become emotionally attached to their character, that this is a girl that's, you know, defenseless and you need to protect her and help her. So I get that, but I'm not that sort of person, you know? If I play a game, I need a really good story, or I need really good combats, or I need really good puzzles, you know, some kind of really good gameplay or story aspects. The puzzles are good, but they were so few and far between that I was just getting so fucking bored dragging this bitch around. So yeah, I really wasn't a huge fan of Eco. Like I said, I can understand why people like it if you can get immersed in the world. I'm not the sort of person who can do that. So I don't know how much I'm going to like The Last Guardian, but I'm still very excited for it. Just because it's from the people that made Shadow of the Colossus. Also, I just hit my goddamn pop filter. Really need to stop doing that. Okay, next up in the Sony Conference, there was probably some stuff between, but I didn't care. So, again, I'm just going to be covering the stuff that really interests me. Holy shit, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Good God, was I excited by that. And then I remembered, oh shit, this is the people that made Final Fantasy 13. So, as excited as I am, and good God, I really hope they do it justice. Like, I really do. Because I love Final Fantasy VII just as much as the next man, probably more. Again, 8's my favorite, but, you know, fuck you, I still love 7. But, yeah. I mean, again, if they can do it justice, don't screw it up, I'll be very pleased. As well, a lot of people, I'm sure, but you've got to remember, these are the people that made 13. I hate 13. This is no secrets. But I ain't the only one. I saw people at the exact same time, tons of people that I was following tweeting the same shit. Like, you gotta remember, these are the dudes who made 13. There were people echoing my thoughts exactly. I am not the only person that hates 13. It's really fucking bad. If you like it, sure, but I think you have bad taste, and that's okay. It's okay to have bad taste. My best friend in the world, she's got horrible taste. I tell her all the time. Doesn't change that she, you know, she's my best friend, but still, she's got horrible taste. But anyway, so ain't much to say about it. I don't think we got a release date. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty damn sure we didn't. So, yeah, don't fuck it up, basically. Otherwise, I'll come for you. I won't actually do that. I should probably point that out, because otherwise I'll get arrested or something. Okay, two more things I want to cover very quickly from the Sony Conference. Shenmue, I think it is. Shenmue 3. Now, here's the thing. I've never played any Shenmue game. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean. I've never played either of the first two, or any spin-offs. I don't know if there are. I haven't played them, so I don't really know the hype. But I do know there are a lot of people very hyped about this. I know a lot of people consider the Shenmue games some of the greatest games ever made, so I'm sure I'll get around to playing them at some points. But yeah, as someone who hasn't played them, I don't really have much to say about this, other than the fact that, hey, I'm excited because other people are excited, you know, I'm a sheep. But, it was weird, they were like, dun-dun-dun, giant reveal, Shenmue 3! Oh, by the way, we need you to kickstart it. Thumbs up. I mean, of course, it's gonna get kickstarted, and I say that it's already well past the goal. Already. It's been, like, not even 24 hours, so... yeah, I don't think it's even been 12. Actually, probably has been 12 by now. But yeah, the point is, it's been funded already. So that's good. I'm sure Sony just wanted the whole Kickstarter thing as, like, a sign that people were interested in this. But it's really weird, like, big reveal, oh yeah, please fund it. Very strange, man, but, you know, whatever. I'm excited because other people are. I'm sure I'll check it out. Last thing I want to comment on from the Sony Conference, that was a bunch more shit, but... Black Ops 3. Now, here's the thing. I couldn't give a shit about Call of Duty. I just found it very strange that Call of Duty apparently have now been paid off by Sony as opposed to Microsoft, because they've always been under Microsoft's wing, you know. Exclusive DLC, pre-order, and exclusive beta, and we get this DLC first, and all this shits. And every time they were advertising Call of Duty, it was like, available now on Xbox 360. We're not gonna mention PlayStation 3, even though it's on that as well. And fuck PC, because, you know, fuck PC apparently. Speaking of which, we'll get to that later. Fuck you, Ubisoft. But anyway, did I just... okay, I'm looking at the notes on my phone so I remember what to talk about, and I almost accidentally deleted the notes. That would have really sucked. So yeah, I couldn't give a shit, but I found it interesting that it's being advertised... I'm sure they used the word exclusive for PlayStation 4. So does that mean there ain't gonna be no Black Ops 3 on Xbone? Seems unlikely to me, but, you know, maybe. I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we have... oh, that's right, Ubisoft. Ubisoft, straight away, I think it might have been the first thing they showed, I remember, but they showed a sequel to The Stick of Truth. Yes, the South Park game. I believe it's called Fractured Butthole, or The Fractured Butthole, something like that. It's a pun, a joke thingy. Not a very funny one, but, you know, it's like, it's a butthole that's fractured. Good work, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. I bet you thought a long time about that one. I'm a huge fan of South Park, not so much the recent stuff. I really love the game. The name could use some work, but, you know, whatever. But here's the thing. It looked very interesting, like they showed a bunch of clips, and it looks very funny. And that's probably the most important part. However, I'm a little bit concerned about the gameplay. Because they had, like, Butters talking to Cartman, and Cartman basically said, no, the combat was shit, we're gonna do it better this time. The combat wasn't shit. The combat was good in Stick of Truth. I really liked it. For turn-based combats, which is very old now, and a lot of people think it's outdated, I kind of agree, quite honestly. They did it really well. You can still do turn-based combat well, but you can also do it very poorly. So, yeah, I really like the combat, so I'm concerned that they're gonna fuck it up. Speaking of which, it's not gonna be fantasy, you know, like kids running around with pans on their heads and wooden swords pretending to be knights. Apparently now it's gonna be based around superheroes, like the Coon and Mysterion, or whatever. I don't want to spoil who Mysterion is, but whatever that person's character's name was, you get my points. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be fine from that aspect, but... personally, I just prefer the fantasy setting. I like the fact that you're running around as a kid with, like, a makeshift weapon. It's still gonna probably be makeshift weapons, but if you're superheroes, you're probably not gonna be using that many weapons. It's gonna be mostly powers, I guess. So, yeah, I really like the style of, you know, kids running around with makeshift clothing to try and look like knights and shit. I really like that. So, I'm concerned I'm not gonna like what they've done with this as much. But I think it will still be good. If nothing else, I think it will be funny. So there's that. Honestly, I don't really have much else to say about the Ubisoft Conference, other than the fact that, I forget her name, but the chick who was hosting it, she did a fantastic job. She had a couple of, like, very cringeworthy one-liners, but who doesn't when they're actually trying to be entertaining? It just kind of slips through the net sometimes. But for the most part, she was very good at what she did. She was very entertaining and, you know, very charismatic, so props to her, even though I can't remember your damn name, but you did a good job. And, yeah, I mean, they showed a trailer for Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Here's the thing about Assassin's Creed. Every trailer they make looks fucking amazing. If there's one thing they do really well in Ubisoft, it's trailers, especially the CGI cutscene ones. Really good, really entertaining, very cool. But you never match that in gameplay. The gameplay of Assassin's Creed is subpar for the most parts. The most I ever enjoyed it was the ship combat. The ship combat was real good. The actual being an assassin is shitty. Really bad, very dated, not much better than it was in Assassin's Creed 1, which came out like a fucking decade ago. So, basically, sort your shit out and work on the gameplay instead of CGI trailers, you motherfuckers. But besides that, hey, it was a good conference. I don't remember much else. There was like some weird Chivalry ripoff. I don't remember the name. That looked interesting, but I will probably hate it just like I hate Chivalry now because I hate the people on Chivalry. That game's got like the worst community I think I've ever seen in an online game. Then again, I've never played League of Legends or Dota 2, so if I had, they'd probably win. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for the Ubisoft Conference. Didn't really care too much about what else they had, unless I'm forgetting something. I feel like I am, but fuck it. And let's move on to, yeah, Hitman. I can't remember who showed Hitman. I think that might have been the Sony Conference. Either way, we'll put it under the Square Enix banner, because it is. Hitman's interesting. I really love the older Hitman games. I played a little bit of Absolution. I enjoyed it for the most part. I stopped playing, I can't remember why. We'll leave it there. So, yeah, I've got some decent experience with Hitman. I completed 1, 2 contracts, most of Blood Money, and probably about a quarter of Absolution, so a lot more than most people. It looked interesting, but I feel like they're biting off more than they could chew. They're like, you can go all over the world and assassinate fucking everyone. I'm like, damn, that sounds cool, but are you gonna do a good job with it? Because here's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of, can't remember the name of the game, the, what's that space one? Damn, I can't remember the name of the damn game, but they showed it off. I can't remember who was showing it. But it was like, you can go to all these planets, and they're randomly generated, and each one of these stars is a planet you can go to, and he zoomed out the map, and there were like fucking thousands. It was like, oh, that's cool. But if there's nowhere near enough random generation to make them different, it's gonna be like, you're visiting something that's only a little tiny bit different. It's like Minecraft, right? Minecraft's great until you've seen everything, but it's very quick to see everything in that game. And then you're like, oh, this landmass looks a little bit more interesting than the other one, but at the same time you're like, well, I've seen everything there is to see. There's just not enough variation for a game that's limitless like that, just like Minecraft. Needs more variation, so I'm worried Hitman is gonna be more quantity than quality. I feel like because they're going so all out on being able to go everywhere and assassinate everyone, I feel like the assassinations aren't going to be as interesting, which is mostly what people complained about with Absolution. They were saying that the levels weren't big enough, there wasn't enough variety in what you can do, and I feel like it's going to be more of that. I don't know, though. I guess we'll see. I mean, the big part's probably not going to be a problem, but I still think it's going to lack variety. But hey, like I say, we'll see. Yeah, they showed the Tomb Raider game off for the Xbox thing. I forgot to mention that. Looks good. I didn't really play very much of the first one, you know, the remake, just the Tomb Raider. Because, I don't know, I don't know. In fact, I do know. I tried playing it, and there's like a full stealth section, like an hour in. Really pissed me off, and I never played it since. Don't do that. Stop putting 4 stealth freaking sections into video games that aren't stealth. God, I hate that shit. So, yeah, that's about all I really have to say about Hitman and Tomb Raider, the fucking Last Guardian Raider. I can't remember the name of it. Whatever. And yeah, it's gonna come out on the PS4 and PC eventually. It's just Xbox have a timed exclusive. No one cares. Okay, so moving on. Let's go on with the Square Enix Conference. They showed more of the chibi Final Fantasy thing, couldn't really care less about that, and they showed, they actually showed some Kingdom Hearts 3. The gameplay looked good, I liked the look of it, and yeah, visually it looks nice. Don't really have too much to say. I mean, the only thing really was at the end they were like, now in development. You said that like 2 fucking years ago, Square, what the hell are you doing? You should give us at least a sort of an estimate of a date, even if it was like 2017 to 2018. That would be something. It's a long time, but that would be something. We don't even have a guess of a release date yet, so just with everything Square make lately, they're gonna take fucking forever, and it will probably come out and still suck ass. God damn it, Square, why can't you be good again? They make me very angry. But yes, hopefully it will come out and not forever and be good. That's the thing, if they spent forever making things and it was good, I'd be okay with that. But they don't. They spend forever making things and probably still gonna suck. Anyway, so what else did they show? They showed the same Final Fantasy VII trailer that Sony showed. That was a pointless waste of time, but you know, I mean, I guess it's one of their front runners, so it doesn't really surprise me that they were showing it, but at least add something more to it. Have a guy come out and talk about it a little bit. Something. It was like, nope, we're gonna show you the same damn trailer again. We already saw it, Square. Get with the times. Okay, so that's about it, really. I didn't watch the Nintendo conference, though I heard. Apparently, I didn't really miss much, so... yeah, I want Zelda. Simple as that. I want the next Zelda game. Don't take forever, and I swear to God, if you delay it to your next console, the NX or whatever the hell it's gonna be called, I don't know, I don't care. If it don't come out on the Wii U, I am probably never gonna buy another fucking Nintendo console again. I'll buy the 3DS stuff, because, you know, the 3DS is goddamn amazing. But we'll get to that a little bit later, because I do want to very briefly touch on some games I've been playing recently. I also want to talk a little bit about the channel. But yeah, I guess that's about it for E3 for now. Yes, there's a lot of shit I didn't cover, but there's also a lot of shit I didn't see, or I just didn't care. So that's me discussing the things I actually care about. Oh, and there was one more thing, I can't remember the bloody name of it, but it was by the guys that make Killzone Guerrilla Games. I really wish I could remember the name. It's not really that important. Basically, it seems like you play as a chick who's kind of like a hunter with like this sort of technological bow and shit, and you fight like cyborg dinosaurs. Looks awesome, can't wait to play it, I just hope it's nothing like Killzone. But you know, I guess we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for the E3 portion. So again, if you don't care about me talking about games I've been playing, and kind of like some channel update stuff at the end here, you can feel free to leave now. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so what has Mr. Anderson been playing lately that isn't on the channel? Because, you know, there's no point me really discussing stuff on the channel, though I do want to touch on The Witcher a little tiny bit, maybe Grimrock 2 as well. So maybe I'm a complete liar, I don't know. So I guess fuck it, we'll start with them. Yes, I have been playing the shit out of The Witcher 3, as well as Grimrock 2. I adore both of those games. Here's the thing. I fully understand I could make more Bloodborne videos and more Dark Souls 1 videos, or, you know, anything Souls or Skyrim, etc. related, and I would probably at least double the views. I don't care. I really don't care about views. As far as I'm concerned, I like to do sort of lengthy, God, I keep hitting things. I like to do lengthy, in-depth playthroughs of, you know, RPGs and stuff like that. I don't like to recover shit I've done all the time, which is why, incidentally, I haven't done Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. I played it a little bit. In fact, I played it quite a lot. I think I nearly finished it, though I think I got to, like, the Dragon Shrine or something like that. It's better than regular Dark Souls 2, but not by any huge amounts. Like, yeah, the enemy placements and variety and whatnot, it's better. But it's not like it's a whole new game. It's still the same game. But, yeah, so I've been playing the shit out of Witcher 3 and Legend of Grimrock 2. I love those games so damn much. Grimrock 2 is kicking my ass. Genuinely one of the toughest games I've probably ever played. The combat's really challenging, but also very fun. Also, I'm only playing on normal mode. And the puzzles, holy shit, man, there's some very imaginative puzzles in that game. So yeah, I really love Grimrock 2 as well as Witcher 3, and yeah, I like Witcher 3 a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I'm really enjoying that game. I'm really getting into it. I really only started playing it in the first place was because I had so many people requesting I do a playthrough of it on the channel, or at least some gameplay, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try, because so many people seem to want to see it, and I kind of fell in love with Witcher 3. I really didn't think I would, because I made it very clear I wasn't a huge fan of Witcher 2. I really wasn't. I played that 14 hours, I forced myself to do most of those, and I wasn't really having fun. Witcher 3 is fun as shit. There's also some very cool shit coming up in that, so keep an eye out. Okay, so what else I've been playing besides those two is mostly just some random games that I recorded a bunch of. Speaking of Hitman, I recorded... It was actually like originally nearly 40 minutes of Hitman Absolution, but it's down to like 18 because the last half of the video got corrupted, which is really shitty, but you know, at least you got half the video. So yeah, I've been playing a bunch of random games, just doing one-off videos, but also I've been playing the shit out of my 3DS. Specifically, I played all the way through Pokemon Y in about a week or so. Like, I've been playing the shit out of that, mostly just so I could buy Ruby and play that as well. And yes, very much enjoying those games. What I will say, Pokemon Y, and you know, probably X as well, because they're basically the same damn thing. Like, halfway through the game, I was getting my ass kicked by, like, every trainer I ran into. And bearing in mind, I know what I'm doing in Pokemon. I know the strengths and weaknesses, what to use, what not to use. I know what I'm doing. Kind of getting my ass kicked. So, I got to the point where I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna grind. I grinded for maybe an hour or two. It wasn't too long. Got a bunch of dudes to evolve. Went back, I have stomped the rest of the game since then, like, far too fucking easy. I beat the Elite Four, who I think have, like, sort of level 60-ish Pokemon. Most of my team were, like, 70 to 80. Again, that was with only maybe 2 hours of grinding. The rest was just me killing, well, not killing, but beating every trainer that I come across. So yeah, basically, I think it's too damn easy, but still a really good game nonetheless. Okay, so then I started playing Mega Ruby. Haven't really got very far into that. I think I just got the 3rd badge yesterday. And yeah, so far I'm enjoying it more than I was enjoying Wire, but I guess that really shouldn't be a surprise, because it's a remake of what I would consider one of the best Pokemon games. The only complaint I had about Emerald really was there was no day and night cycle, which led to less variety than there was in Gold and Silver, but, you know, they changed all that and they added a lot of stuff, so yeah, really enjoying it so far. Don't have too much to say about it, though, but so far it's about as challenging, so I'm hoping it gets a little bit tougher, but we'll see. Okay, so the last thing I've been playing on my 3DS recently is The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. For those of you that don't know, it's basically like a sequel to A Link to the Past. It's not really a sequel, but it kind of is. It's like set in the same world, space, it's very much the same thing. Like, if there's a tree in A Link to the Past, it's probably there in A Link Between Worlds. Though it's updated, there's a lot more different variety in the things you can use, and holy shit. The combat is actually probably, I mean, it's not ridiculously hard, don't get me wrong. I think I've only died like once, and that was mostly me just not being a moron, basically, and not beating the boss the way that was kind of obvious. So the combat isn't super challenging. However, compared to most Zelda games, which are a complete fucking breeze in the combat department, I'm getting my ass fairly kicked. Like, I'm having to use potions and fairies and stuff like that, which normally I don't. So the combat's adequate, you know, like in terms of the challenge. The puzzles, man, holy shit, there's some really imaginative stuff there. Like, for example, there was one place, I think it was optional just to get some booty. Basically, there's a rod you can use to raise pillars of sand. I'm gonna kind of spoil this puzzle for you, by the way. This isn't in a dungeon, it's just an optional thing to get some money. But, basically, you can use this rod to raise pillars of sand. So, of course, you have to do that so you can use pillars to cross gaps. Simple enough, but also sometimes the pillars raise too high, so you can't cross them, but you can use your wall melding ability to go flat up against them, walk yourself around the edge because you're flat up against it because you're like a painting, and then get off the other side. So that's pretty cool. So there was one room where I had to do that, to go across a couple of gaps, then walk around the wall. Then I had to activate these fans, I can't remember how the hell I did that. Then I had to use this kind of leaf thing you can use in front of a fan to blow you across the gap. I had to blow, basically what I had to do was raise pillars of sand, and they only last a certain length of time. So you had to be quick, so you had to do that from one specific direction, run around very quickly, use the leaf to blow yourself over the gap and land on the pillars that you'd already made before they disappeared, and then run to go and get the money. It was kind of awesome. So yeah, basically I'm enjoying the shit out of that game, trying to get it done fairly quickly. I think I have like 3 or 4 more dungeons left to go, so I'm fairly close. Because I also ordered Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D. Now let's make this very clear. I'm not going to be recording these because I can't record my 3DS. But yeah, I am going to be playing the shit out of those in my off time once I beat A Link Between Worlds. But I'm making sure I beat that first. So yeah, really enjoying that game. Okay, the last thing I want to discuss really is just kind of like a channel update. So probably going to be fairly quick. Now, you may have noticed recently, and if you haven't, then you probably don't watch my shit, which means, statistically speaking, you're probably not going to be watching this. You may have noticed recently, videos have become much longer than they used to be. I used to do sort of 20-25 minutes. Now I'm just like, fuck it. Everything's like 30 to 60. And yeah, I know some people don't like longer videos, but it's kind of my opinion that if you don't, then just pause it and come back, or just watch as much as you want. I don't really know what to tell you. It really shouldn't be a huge deal. But basically the reason for that is because, for a start, the games I'm playing are very long RPGs, especially Witcher 3, so I'm trying to get them busted out within a reasonable length of time. Also, I'm just enjoying them enough that, for the most part, when I start recording, I just don't want to stop. And this isn't just The Witcher 3 and Grimrock, it's just in general. Like, I've always hated having to sort of be like, well, I've been recording for like 25 minutes, better stop the recording and do the outro, and then, oh shit, I want to play more, so better start the recording again, resync my mic audio with the fucking game, and then do the intro again. So now I'm just like, fuck it, I'll record for however the hell long I want, and if it ends up being like an hour or more, I'll usually split it into 2 parts. So there you go. And yeah, I think that's about it really. Also, the other thing, you may have noticed I've been doing random gameplay recently. I mentioned that earlier in the podcast, if you even want to call this a podcast, I don't know what the hell else you call it. But yes, I've been doing random gameplay. I'm going to try and keep doing that as much as I can. I would like to get them out every 2 days. So far, I've got a bunch of them recorded in like a backlog, so there's more coming up. I don't want to spoil what they are. I want it to be a surprise, you know, when it pops up in your inbox and you're like, oh, Mr. Anderson's playing this. I wonder what this is like, and does he suck at this game, and is this game good? I've never heard of it, and stuff like that. So there's some very cool stuff coming up, that's all I'm going to say to you, and if you have any suggestions for one-off gameplay videos you'd like me to do, feel free to leave them. And yeah, other than that, I should probably mention I have a Patreon for those of you that don't know, so if you want to donate to the channel financially, you can do so at patreon.com/MrAndersonLP. You can follow me at twitter.com/MrAndersonLP, twitch.tv/MrAndersonLP, and for some reason, if you haven't followed my YouTube, it's MrAndersonLP. Branding. Alrighty, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and as always, I'll see you next time.